me share my screen. Can you see my screen, Prabhu?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so today, Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam topic. Even though I'm not qualified, I will try my best to serve the Vaishnavas and serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So with that being said, we'll be reading Srimad Bhagavatam today, text our Canto 3, chapter 19, text 28 and 29. So the first one is 3:19:28. Yam yogino yoga samadhinaraho dhyayanti lingadat asato mumukshaya tasyesha daitya rishabha padahato mukham prapashyams tanum utsasarjaha. Sorry. Yam yogino yoga samadhinaraho dhyayanti lingadasato mumukshaya tasyesha daitya rishabha padahato mukham prapashyams tanumutsasarjaha. Synonyms: Yam, whom, yogina, the yogis, yoga samadhina, in mystic trance, rahaha, in seclusion, dhyayanti, meditate upon, lingat, from the body, asataha, unreal, mukshaya, seeking freedom, tasya, of him, eshaha, this, daitya, son of Diti, rishabha, the crust jewel, pada, by a foot, ahata, struck, mukham, countenance, prapashyam, while gazing on, tanum, the body, utsasarja, he cast off, ha, indeed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma continued, he was struck by a forefoot of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in seclusion and mystic trance. While gazing on his countenance, this crust jewel of the sons has cast off his mortal coil. Purport. The process of yoga is very clearly described in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said here that the ultimate end of the yogis and the mystics who perform meditation is to get rid of this material body. Therefore, they meditate in secluded places to attain yogic trance. Yoga has to be performed in a secluded place, not in public or in demonstration on stage, as nowadays practiced by many so-called yogis. Real yoga aims at ridding one of the material body. Yoga practice is not intended to keep the body fit and young. Such advertisements of so-called yoga are not approved by any standard method. Particularly mentioned in this verse is the word yam, or unto whom, indicating that meditation should be targeted on the personality of Godhead. Even if one concentrates his mind on the Bore form of the Lord, that is also yoga. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, one who concentrates his mind constantly in meditation upon the personality of Godhead in one of his many varieties of forms is a first-class yogi. And he can very easily attain trance simply by meditating upon the form of the Lord. If one is able to continue such meditation on the Lord's form at the time of one's death, one is liberated from this mortal body and is transferred to the kingdom of God. This opportunity was given to the demon by the Lord, and therefore Brahma and other demigods were astonished. In other words, the perfection of yoga practice can be attained by a demon also if he's simply kicked by the Lord. So beautiful. And we'll do the 29 as well. I think I am having issues. Maybe let's see. Okay. Eto tu parshadavasya shapadyatava satgatim punah katipaye sthanam prapaschete janmabhihi. I'll read this one more time. Eto to parsadav asya shapadyatav asatgatim punah katipaye sthanam prapaschete janmabhihi. Synonyms: eto, these two, to, both, parshado, personal assistants, asya, of the personality of Godhead, shapat, because of being cursed, yato, have gone, asad gatim, to take birth in a demoniac family, punaha, again, katipaye, a few, sthanam, own place, prapasyete, will get back, ha, indeed, janmabhihi, after births. Translation by HG Manjari A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. These two personal assistants of the Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demoniac families. After a few such births, they will return to their own positions. So wonderful. Stop sharing. Oh, was I not sharing my screen, Prabhu?
What is the question, Mataji?
Am I sharing my screen or you don't see this?
You're sharing your screen, I see.
I am. Okay, okay.
31929, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to stop sharing. We'll do the prayers now. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Manchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So, yeah, we are again referring to Canto 3, Chapter 19, and text 28 and 29. So just to recap here overall, is that Diti, she sought to have union with her husband, Kashyapa Muni, during Sandhyakal. And during this time, the union should be completely avoided, and it should be, the time should be used for worshiping the Lord. Then Kashyapa Muni tried to convince Diti, but she was really adamant. And then there was union of, evidently done afterwards. So since that time, that Diti had conceived these two sons in her womb, ever since they were just conceived, there was havoc in this world. And then even when they were born, that havoc continued, and the atrocities that they, created for all this, the sages and all the good people or anyone was really, really bad. And these two sons were Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. So now what we're discussing today is, Lord Bor is having this battle with Hiranyaksha, and Hiranyaksha dies in this chapter. So Hiranyaksha has died. And these texts are, they're spoken and taught by Lord Brahma, and these demigods also were there on, how wonderful this death of Hiranyaksha was and how he had achieved this wonderful death. And Hiranyaksha, it says in the text 28, that he was struck by the forefoot of the Lord. So with this, I was thinking about what is the importance of this statement. And Srila Prabhupada states in this purport that yogis meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord so that they can get rid of this material body and think of the Lord at the time of death. And we know as devotees, we understand that whoever surrenders to the lotus feet of the Lord, typically he would be happy no matter what circumstances he would be put into in his or her life. And we also understand that the Lord's pure devotees always meditate at this lotus feet of the Lord, and they stay at the lotus feet of the Lord. So because this also grants fearlessness from everything in the world when one surrenders to the lotus feet of the Lord. And the surrender, it doesn't mean just by, it has to be by body, mind, and words, right? So we also have to surrender with our mind, which is what Srila Prabhupada is stating in the purport, that this is what the yogis do to attain the Lord at the time of death. And here, Lord Brahma and the other demigods are in astonishment because, Hiranyaksha had received such a wonderful death from the Lord, despite all of the atrocities that he had created during his life. So they're seeking, or they're seeing that, how the Lord bore's forefoot struck Hiranyaksha. And he, by seeing the Lord's face, Hiranyaksha left his body. So they're thinking, how does this kind of sinner get such a wonderful death that usually this, yogis get after many, many hard efforts of meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. So here, I was contemplating on the subject and was thinking of like how Lord is so merciful, even to people who have no qualifications. So more than even the Lord, we know, the devotees of the Lord are even more merciful, that they want to share Krishna and the love of Krishna with everyone, without seeing any of their qualification or disqualified, even if they're disqualified. Like, how Srila Prabhupada had done. So, I was thinking like, what qualifications do we have that we can practice this sadhana bhakti on a daily basis? We don't have any qualifications, actually. It is only by the mercy of our Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada who empowers us to continue this bhakti process. Otherwise, even just myself, I would have been lost somewhere in this world of Kali Yuga, thinking, how I can just eat, drink, and be merry only. That is we wouldn't know the real purpose of life. And we'll think, I think that the life's goal is just to enjoy in this world. That's why we're here. We would think how to live in this world. So constantly we would think about how we're supposed to live and enjoy this every moment in this world, but we would never try to understand even how we should be leaving this world. So we'll if we didn't have Srila Prabhupada, we would think about how to live here and enjoy versus how to leave and when we leave this world. So Srila Prabhupada taught us how to leave this world. He taught us such a simple principle of how one can be happy. And he, when he comes out of this me and mine mentality, he taught us that even why we have this, because so it's not just he says that we have to come out of this me and my mentality. He even told us, why we think that. It's because we think that we are this body. And Srila Prabhupada taught us that we are not really this body. We are actually the spirit soul. And our eternal nature is to serve the Lord. So this is what I had been contemplating while reading this text about Lord's mercy and his devotees' mercy. So this is what I was thinking. And I was also thinking, what is the easiest way to give Krishna's mercy to someone who may not be following Krishna consciousness in their life? So even that Srila Prabhupada has said it is to give prasadam to everyone. And this is how one gradually receives the mercy of the Lord, because prasadam means it's the mercy of the Lord. And, at least in this form, the person who is not following Krishna consciousness will slowly and gradually, develop this understanding of, following bhakti and Krishna consciousness. So it may not happen right away after they have the prasadam, of course. Sometimes it may take even many years for these people to come to Krishna consciousness, but it definitely does happen. I'm sure, we've all had that experience. We've had that experience. I mean, even myself, I feel it's because of this, prasadam is why eventually, I came to this transformation in of Krishna consciousness. I mean, all our lives, even if we were raised in such a spiritual family, or we still, I didn't follow the bhakti to the extent that what Srila Prabhupada had given, right, and taught us. So I'm very grateful for that. So even for practicing devotee, the mercy is always there, we hear. But it is about, our patra. Our patra means like, how much can we hold that mercy? It's like if you want some water, right? And you go to Niagara Falls to get some water, and you go with a small glass of water, or you can also go with big truck loads of water. So, it is up to us on how much we can hold that mercy. So, and then I was wondering how we can make our patra bigger. So sometimes we don't understand, we don't know, we think that mercy is not coming, but it's because we are having small patra, or something to hold on to, or receive that mercy. So how we can make that bigger, that patra bigger? So it is by serving Vaishnavas and following the instructions of our Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So many times we can do some gross service, right? We can always do some gross service, but it is equally as important, if not more, to focus on subtle levels of service, like introspection on our anarthas, like false ego, lust, greed, and all these anarthas. So of course, we should never be entangled in those thoughts and just dwell on those thoughts. But we shouldn't forget the real essence of our practice of bhakti yoga. It is to develop the love. But it is important to contemplate internally where we really are. So we need to understand where we really are. We can't just, think that yes, I'm practicing, devotional service, and then that's it. We have to look and introspect where we are on the progress of devotional service. And we have to be honest with ourselves and Krishna. Then with a prayerful mood, we should confess to Krishna and also our mentors about our progress, to ask them for help, that, this is where I am, and this is how I'm feeling. So please, pray for me, or help me come out of this. And that is how the mercy then flows through the devotee and Krishna, because it humbles us when we really introspect and describe our shortcomings to our senior devotees and your mentors. So then this patra becomes bigger to receive that mercy. So that is what I was thinking about. And then now just coming back to the text purport again. Srila Prabhupada also describes what real yoga means. So he said that it is to get rid of this material body. And how do we do that? Is by meditating on any forms of the Lord. So nowadays we think that yoga means to keep body fit and young. Of course, that can be true for devotees also, but at the same time, the devotees can still say that they're wanting to keep this body fit to serve the Lord, right? And the problem is not what we have. We always hear this. The problem is not what we have, but the problem is our attachment to what we have. If we engaged all that we have in the service of Krishna, then naturally we will get attached to Krishna, since we'll be relating everything to Krishna. So I think even if we think that what is the real success of this life, well, Krishna, we hear that Krishna says that it is one of the things, one who thinks of Krishna at the time of death, that is the real success of life. Ante Narayana Smriti. So that is this perfection of life that everyone should try to achieve. And then, sometimes people will, when we say this to someone, then some people will think that, okay, I'll do everything I can to enjoy it right now. But at the time of death, I will just remember Krishna and, say Krishna's name. But it's not just saying Krishna's name. You have to also have our mind engaged in Krishna. You can't just say, some people die and they say, they say the Lord's name. Yes, but also at the same time, we should, as practicing devotees, we should understand that our mind also should be engaged in the remembrance of the Lord. So this is not how, how things work, that we just say the name of the Lord at the end, and we develop, we develop this Lord's abode. I mean, we have, we do have a Jamil who had the case, but he was also a Brahmana, and he had, that sukriti from his earlier life. So we only think of, what we have practiced, and we only reap what we sow. So if we always sowed attachments to things of this world and people of this world without relation to Krishna, then we cannot think of Krishna at the end of life. So this is why practicing this throughout one's life, it can sometimes take many lifetimes for someone for this to happen, that they get Ante Narayana Smriti. So if you see any old person who's about to die, I've seen some people who have, who are about to die, and they've lived all their life a materialistic life, and we ask them to chant the name of the Lord. They say yes, they can, and then but then right after that, they'll actually, tell you to stop and talk about, please take care of my wealth, please take care of my family. All this, etc., all these things that they have been always practicing throughout their life is going to come in front of their mind. It's not, the Lord's name. So how important it is to strictly practice this throughout our life, that we can remember the Lord at the time of death. And after, and we should be strict on ourselves, but we should not be judging others at the same time. This is also very important. Fault finding is something that we should not do in other devotees, or anyone else for that matter. So after so much effort, this happens. But however, we see in this text that Hiranyaksha was given that opportunity to die, seeing the face of the Lord. And, he didn't even have to separately endeavor all his life. He was obviously doing all the wrong things instead, right? But of course, there's this bigger story in text 29, we see that, they were really the true devotees of the Lord in Vaikuntha, as Jaya and Vijaya. But, just to see the essence of the story is how merciful the Lord is, even to people who do not qualify for his bhakti. So with that, I would like to end here, and I seek forgiveness from devotees if I spoke anything, incorrectly out of my mental concoction. But I was just wanting to share what I felt while reading these texts. So we can go through any of the discussions that anyone has now.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much. It was nice flow of the class. So I was just thinking about, I mean, when yesterday also we were discussing the merciful nature of the Lord, right? So, and also you connected very nicely how the devotees are in Srila Prabhupada, he talked about, taught us how to leave the world, not just live the world, live in the world, right? So,
Mhm.
I was thinking about that, and yeah, that was coming to me, Mataji. I was just thinking about that, how we are
Prabhu,
taught.
I can barely hear you. I don't know is that same for everyone, or it's just my end?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear Prabhuji.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear
Okay.
now,
I can
Mataji?
hear just very low. So sorry.
Even
Yes,
now also? Okay.
I can hear. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just meditating on moment, thinking about when you mentioned about how Srila Prabhupada taught us how to leave the world, not just live in the world.
Yeah.
Right? So that is more important, because living in the world is only for say maybe 80 years or 60 years.
Right.
Living the world is more. So, yeah,
Right. Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. Thank you.
that is also most important, but people we don't realize, right? So, we just think about it tomorrow.
Right. Exactly. That's what we do. I mean, even as me before coming to Krishna consciousness, it was all about how, just to enjoy right now and live in this present moment and enjoy. And that's all we thought about, or planning, few years out for how we can enjoy better in this world. That's all we were able to do and think about. So, very grateful for Srila Prabhupada to give us this knowledge and understanding and the association of devotees and Guru Parampara. So
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandot Pranamalu Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please.
The class was, I'm not, glorifying Bhagavatam and glorifying the way you spoke. It was fantastic. And I was remembering, I was thinking, Manjari Lila Mataji some years ago and now, how much the changes and the speech, the way you were into so many classes and then volunteer services and this and that. And then that shows, forget about me. I'm just saying others because I'm always finding fault in others and say, hey, he's right, he's wrong, okay? But the way you have done, I can see the progress in your spiritual life. That shows an example of what sadhu sangha and plugging into the system. So you are one of the true examples in such a way. I was thinking in that way, Mataji. Nice class. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. So thank you so much. It's all not me. It's actually all the glories goes to my Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Guru and devotees. It's only by their mercy and their prayers that I can practice what I'm practicing. Otherwise, I don't have any qualifications. So thank you for that, Prabhu. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Okay, Prabhu, we can end if there's no more comment or discussion.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavendra ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.